Welcome back. Joining us again is Kathy Messina. And Kathy, we've been talking about the housing market in the Triangle, and it's good news, bad news, I guess, depending on who you are and where you are. What are some of the trends? I mean, where we were talking about this, that when I first got here, Raleigh, there was, I mean, nobody wanted to go to downtown Raleigh, right? And now it's a completely different story. So what's happening? What are the trends? What are you seeing?
Well, you know, 5 or 6 years ago, it was considered not a great thing to live near downtown. Well, all right, maybe 10 years ago, it was considered not a great thing to live downtown because there were some iffy areas. So folks tended to move out to communities where there were half-acre, one-third acre lots. The small ones were a quarter of an acre, and get your single-family home. Now we're seeing folks flocking to downtown areas because, again, there's huge attractions such as, well, let's consider the Durham Bulls. Everybody wants to be around the Durham Bulls Stadium. We have PNC Arena in Raleigh. Folks want to be around that. There's so many attractions in downtown Raleigh. Everybody wants to be close to that. So instead of having folks in the outlying areas, they're moving in. And another consideration, Bill, is traffic. We have so much more traffic than we did 5, 10 years ago. Everybody wants to create that quality of life and get home as quickly as possible so they can enjoy themselves.
I can understand that. Someday we'll do a show on the left-hand lane that people are, but we won't do that today. But I can understand that. If you're commuting, and I don't know what is tolerable for most people, you know, I mean, 20 minutes for me is no big deal, but now, depending on the time of day, it can take you an hour, but normally took 20 minutes. But what is the quality of life for a family in downtown? We talked a little bit about that at the beginning of the show. I mean, who's attracted to downtown? The young people, single family, I mean, you know, young couples, I can see that. But how about for someone who has 2, 3 kids? Can you do that in downtown Raleigh or Durham?
Sure, and absolutely. And areas surrounding North Hills, which is considered Midtown. I love that term, Midtown. And then downtown, yeah, families can definitely enjoy all the conveniences down there. I mean, who wouldn't want their child to walk to school? I mean, doesn't that bring back memories of Mayberry RFD?
Well, not you, you're way too young. I used to do that uphill both ways.
Uphill, yeah, that's right. I did it in the snow, thank you. That's right.
But nowadays, you know, I understand that, and the conveniences are worth something. You were mentioning off camera, and I think it's important for people to understand this, that Durham is actually hotter than Raleigh is right now.
Right.
Why is that?
Again, all the attractions of downtown Durham. If you were to go and see a play, you have DPAC, you have so many restaurants. I did a walking tour of restaurants in downtown Raleigh and loved it.
Right.
And by the way, walked through the snow when I did it. Not a joke.
Of course. Nobody leaves their home in North Carolina if it's snowing, unless you're in the mountains. I know that. How about houses and building trends? Have you seen that shift at all? I've noticed driving in Raleigh, you can go from very historical homes to very, very modern homes.
It's
so what's
true.
the trend?
It's very true. You have a sprinkling of almost everything. The historic district in Raleigh and Durham hopefully will remain that way. And then you have some of the more modern homes coming in and modern multifamily. So you have this, sometimes you'll see a deck on the roof of a home that's got the industrial look to it, and multifamily builders are coming in and building things that look very trendy, very industrial. So there's a lot of glass that's coming in, so you can have those downtown views, which is beautiful. And then you have your transitional homes, which are outside of the area. So transitional meaning it's a little less of the modern look. So.
Is it affordable to folks? And what I mean by that is, do you have to be making some good coin in order to live in these areas?
In the downtown area, yes.
Yeah, you do.
Yes. And as we discussed off camera, there are a lot of folks who are coming out of college who are making the money who would prefer to be downtown, and they might have they may not even have a car. They may not want a car. They may be able to walk to everywhere they need to go. And so our areas are becoming much more city-like, shall we say, because in New York City you don't need a car. And I think we're getting to that point in our downtown areas.
Well,
where
it was something Raleigh wanted to do. And so they're meeting that challenge.
Sure.
So for them, I assume those people, it's a big success story. For folks who are looking to buy a home, of course you have to get mortgages.
Right.
And mortgages right now, I think are incredibly low, right? The interest rates?
Do
Is
you
it
remember?
Very attractive?
When I bought my first home, my mortgage was 11%.
Yes, yes.
So-
And it was as high as 18, 19% at one time. I know.
Exactly.
You don't believe me, go back, open the history book. So we're at under 4%. That's incredible.
It is incredible, so you can afford more home.
Right.
The folks who may have been able to afford a $250,000 home might be able to push it up a little bit. So that $300,000 mark is certainly achievable.
And I think that's good for people to know, you know. And of course, on top of that, you got other things on your, we look at the monthly payment, don't we?
Sure.
Ultimately, when it comes down to it. So we also talked a bit about this, and I mentioned it, and I'd like to talk a little bit more about that, and that's that mixed-use space. I'm seeing a lot of like retail stores, and I mean all kinds of eclectic stores, as well as grocery stores, and then people living above it. You're seeing more and more of that. Is that a trend that's going to continue, you think?
It is, and it's a very attractive trend. Builders are finding that they can get more bang for the buck, and so the folks who live there are finding they can get more bang for their buck. So you walk downstairs and you can go grocery shopping. You walk out your door and you can go to the movies. So things like that are great.
That is pretty
Yeah.
cool. What kind of tips do you have for folks who are entering the housing market right now?
I'm so glad you asked. You need to find a professional. If there is something wrong with you physically, you go and see a professional, a doctor, a dentist. If you need to get into a new home, the best thing that you can do is to find a professional to guide you. As an on-site agent, I know about all that marketing, the housing trends as far as building and construction. If you're going to do a resale, if you're looking at something that you may want to renovate, you need to go with a real estate professional, and then you may want to find a good contractor if you decide that you're going to renovate. I didn't even realize this until today, there are renovation management companies now, which are great for folks who are buying something that they have the time and the resources to renovate. Personally, being in the industry, I think a new home is the way to go.
Sure.
So I can tell you all about that.
Less issues, less problems.
That's
no
right.
question about that. But I
That's
think your
right.
advice is excellent. If you don't know what you're doing, it's always best to hook up with somebody who does.
Absolutely.
We're almost out of time. Any other trends that we should be made aware of?
If you have a real estate professional who tells you that now is the time to buy, there are a lot of factors that would go into making a decision to buy, and there's a lot of reasons a real estate professional may tell you that. Nobody has a crystal ball. Nobody can tell you exactly what's going to happen, but prices will go up. Mortgage rates will probably not be going down anytime soon. So if they say now is the time to buy, I would do it.
Believe them.
Yeah.
Believe them. I believe her. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, too, for watching. We hope you enjoyed today's show. If you have any questions or would like to know more, visit our website at raleighcw.com and myrdctv.com. I'm Bill LeMay, and thank you for watching Community Matters. We'll see you next week.